Rich from Rich TV Live and RICHPICKSDAILY.com with the CEO of Molecule Holdings, David Reingold. How you doing today, David?
Good. Thanks, Rich. Thanks for having me on. I'm doing great.
My pleasure. David is actually with us at the airport, so he's not actually on camera. He's on his phone at the airport. Thank you for joining us from the airport. You guys had some big news today, David. So I wanted to talk to you about that. And my first question is, I saw the release this morning announcing 7 new products launching in the Ontario Cannabis Store. That many SKUs, that many SKUs must be getting you close to the big Canadian players in the space. Can you tell me how your team went about getting that many new products accepted for the spring summer launch?
Yeah, so obviously very exciting. 7 products is very meaningful for us. It's almost tripling our current output. So we're really excited about where the business is going for sure. With respect to how we got here, I think we took a meaningful step to really understanding where consumers were going to be looking for products. We spent a lot of time on creating segments in the beverage category that were going to complement each other and not compete. We launched recently CANAJO. I think we talked about some of this earlier. We launched a health food or a health type brand in EMBODY. The OCS really took a liking to what we're doing, and they've really given us a meaningful chance in accumulating real estate in the category, and we're really excited about where it's going from here.
Congratulations. That's huge news. Now, with all of these new products coming to market, it really feels as though Molecule is becoming a brand builder in the beverage space. Do you have a team in-house that is staying up to date on market trends and constantly formulating new products?
Absolutely. So Becky Griffin, our chief beverage officer, is really doing an amazing job with her team and in creating and really looking at current health food trends and beverage trends and really creating products that are meaningful in the category. So I think that's really showing off by how the provinces are listening to us. So yeah, absolutely. We're really focused on understanding what consumers want and making sure that we're sort of pushing those buttons.
With the acceptance of these new products into the OCS, what type of impact do we expect this is to have on your top line revenue going forward?
So obviously substantial. We're going from 5 SKUs to 12 SKUs. We think this is just the beginning. We think that there'll be more SKUs coming in the summer launch. So we're excited about these 4 brands and how we're building them out to be multiple SKUs. We're going to take a serious amount of real estate on the shelf now, and as that happens, you're going to see sales grow tremendously. We're forecasting our numbers. If your group goes online, you'll see that we're forecasting run rates in the $7 to $10 million range towards the third quarter of 2022. So we're going to make a meaningful go at this, and it's exciting to see that the provinces are listening to us, and it's equally exciting to see that consumers are really enjoying what we've put out so far.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting time in the cannabis sector over the last little while. I also saw the launch of the first SKU from PHRESH strains. Can you tell me about this line of products and what your goal is in creating it?
So PHRESH strains is really true innovation in the beverage category. It really pairs the flower flavors that people sort of long for on the flower side of things, on the smoking side of things, and really gives them an opportunity, a healthier way to enjoy those flavors now that they're being put into beverages. So it's something that's really completely new. We think for sure the legacy consumer, which is probably the biggest part of the beverage space right now, we think that legacy consumer is really going to love this one. Fresh has been an amazing launch for us, and it's been very successful. So we think the addition of fresh strains, which is the first offshoot of the Fresh brand, is going to be a real winner.
When can we expect to see some of these products launched in other provinces?
So the team is right now pitching the other provinces. It was so important for us to get a really strong foothold in Ontario. We need that volume base to be able to move out to other provinces. So now that we have a wholesome offering, I think that'll happen immediately.
So right now, can you talk a little bit about your fundamentals? I know when we spoke before earlier, you mentioned that the company's balance sheet was really strong. Can you talk a little bit about your balance sheet for investors that are watching today?
Yeah, I mean, the balance sheet is good. I think we're going to really focus throughout the summer months on building these brands, and we'll definitely spend in respect to making sure that consumers understand what we're doing in the marketplace and that the brands are at the forefront of what's going on. The good news is our facility is complete and up and running, as you obviously know. So there's no capex required for us to build into this. Flavoring and cannabis is on site, so we feel like we're in a good spot to really build these brands out from here, and we think we have what it'll take to do that.
I have a question from the audience. I mean, it's a little bit off from left field, but it's kind of a good question. Do you mind if I ask?
Of course.
Will you accept crypto as payments or put cryptos on the books of the company?
So remember that we're selling. We sell our products to the province. The province sells the products to stores, and then the stores are the retailers. So that's not really an area for us to focus in.
Totally understand.
Like we don't control that. Yeah.
I totally understand. And if there was one thing that you would want investors to know about Molecule Holdings today, what would it be?
Well, I think people underestimate the growth in the beverage category. I looked at a number last week on January sales, and beverage in Canada's largest market, Ontario, has more than tripled from last year to this year, same period. So consumers are really starting to feel comfortable about beverages. If you look at the Molecule portfolio, we've really focused on building our own brands, building strong brands that will resonate with consumers. I think that really puts us in a good position to take advantage of the market. The beverage category has the highest barriers to entry. There are very few LPs in Canada that are really playing in that space, and I think Molecule has an opportunity to really take a leadership position.
Now, the cannabis sector has been extremely undervalued for about a year now. Do you think now is the time for investors to start really looking and taking a good look at cannabis stocks? I know that I am, because I've technically, when you look at the charts, you can see that from the biggest to the lowest cannabis companies, a lot of them are technically undervalued, underappreciated, underexposed, near 52-week lows and near the bottom of the chart. Do you feel like now is the time for investors to really start taking a hard look into cannabis stocks and beverage stocks right now at this point in time?
Absolutely. So, a new market has peaks and valleys. And I think from an investor standpoint, when you want to get involved is in that valley stage. And I think that's exactly where we are. I think it's important to look at companies that are have good valuations. I think Molecule fits into that category. I think there's substantial opportunity here. So I think it's, investors have to do their homework. They have to believe in the category they're getting involved in, and that they have to believe in the management team. And I think we're well positioned. And I've been bullish on beverage since day one. I think it had a little bit of a slow start because obviously it did not start from a legacy market. So consumers, this is new to them. But when I see the growth in beverage year over year, I see movement consistently that more consumers are turning to beverage, turning to healthier choices. And I also look at how many LPs are playing in the space. And in a lot of these other categories, there's a significant amount of LP competition. But in beverage, I feel like there's less of a playing field. And from my perspective, that means more opportunity for companies that can do a good job.
Now, I have a question from Mike D in our audience. He's asking how you compare to BevCana. Now, BevCana is another company that we've had on our show that's focusing on beverages. Do you guys compare to Bev Canada? Have you looked at Bev Canada at all?
Well, BevCana is taking more of a co-packer approach to things,
Okay.
where Molecule has really really recreated itself as a brand iteration firm. So we're really based on two things. We want volume, obviously, because volume is how you put money in the bank, but we're also brand builders, right? So we want to own those brands. We want to be able to take advantage of them. And we think the really big win is in building strong consumer brands. So that's where we differ. We think the co-packing business is a great business when there's excess volume. But we think when volume isn't in that stage, or, when the category is not in that stage, what's most important is to be building your own brands.
All right, David. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. If there was one more thing you wanted to leave investors with before we said goodbye today, because I know that you're at the airport and you're really busy, what would that be?
I think that it's not often that you see a valuation like this and a growth story in this at the same time. So I think that Molecule, I think we're in a good place for investors because we really are in that valley stage. And when you see companies like Molecule making really substantial moves in the market, and I would tell you that moving from 5 to 12 SKUs during one product call is a substantial move. I think there's an opportunity for people to do well.
Sorry, David, can I ask you one more question?
Of course.
Got another question from the audience from Top Stocks. He asks, when will MLCL receive its sales license?
That's the big question. So we have gone through that process with Health Canada, and I feel, we released this, I think it was early in January or just before the end of the year. I don't really see any issues with us getting it. We feel like it's imminent, and we're sort of waiting for news from Health Canada at this stage.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today. The CEO of Molecule Holdings, David Reingold. Now, the symbol for Molecule Holdings in Canada is MLCL, and the symbol in America is EVRRF. Thank you for joining us today, the CEO, David Reingold, who's on the phone. Thank you for joining us today, David.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Rich.
Always a pleasure. I must remind you guys that Rich TV Live is strictly for information and education purposes. Please do your due diligence, do your research before you invest in anything we talk about or discuss here on Rich TV Live. In saying that, this is a company that I believe is undervalued, underappreciated, underexposed. It's already up since we've started to cover the stock, which is around 6 cents in Canada. Today, it's now at 8.5 cents in Canada. It's a penny stock. Love to know what you guys think of the video. If you like the video, smash the like button, comment down below, share the video everywhere, and subscribe if you're live. If you're not winning, you're probably not watching because we bring you the winners and we bring them to you first. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have yourselves a nice day. Thank you, David. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Rich.
Cheers, everyone. Have a nice day, everybody.